Hey, everybody. Welcome to a Sunday Food for Action presented by SBTSBC. Again, Food for Action on Sunday. I hope everybody has had a blessed one so far. Um, so it's a sad Sunday. We lost um, two of our very important civil rights leaders. Uh, John Lewis and C.T. Vivian, Reverend C.T. Vivian, um, very important figures in our history and present up until the present. They fought for freedom and equality for black folks and minorities, but very prominent as far as um, this black fight that we have going on for equality, justice, to hold seats at the table. Um, they both served um, harrowingly in with Martin Luther King. I believe Reverend C.T. Vivian was kind of somewhat of an assistant to Martin Luther King for a bit, and we're talking about service for most of their living lives from the 40s all the way through uh, the 60s when things were um, when there were very violent clashings between um, um, white folks and police, and it was a very horrible time. You've probably seen videos of the dogs and the water hoses full blast, those types, big high pressured water hoses, beatings, rock throwing, sticks, you could name it. There were lynchings. There were John Lewis suffered almost a life threatening um, uh, beating uh, during a protest, and so these folks carried the helm or carried the cross, I guess, in a way for all of us, um, fighting for this until their last breaths. If only we can be um, that upstanding, or half as upstanding, half as courageous as those two men, those two American heroes, those two black American heroes, then uh, there's no telling what we can do these days. We have a lot more visibility. We have a lot more capabilities, technological abilities. We have so much more at our fingertips these days to assist in the fight. And as per the purpose of what I'm doing here, we have so much more access and also other people that are standing with us these days, especially having so many white men, women, boys, uh, girls, young folk, old folk standing with us, which is also um, uh, is definitely something that needs to continue, as it is in many cities over this globe, and but especially here in America, we have um, we have a lot of folks stepping to the table, but there's so many more needed. This fight doesn't end until there is equality across the board. That means in government, locally, regionally, statewide, nationally. That means corporations, opportunities. That means high paying, high seated corporations, seats at the table. That means if it comes to sports teams, if it comes to businesses, if it comes to um, legislative positions. We need those seats at the table. We have plenty of able-bodied black men and black women who can serve those positions just as well as white folks can, and so we need to keep fighting until those things are achieved, and so much more. I want to start off like I always do, and I had to say something about John Lewis and C.T. Vivian, because that's just it's a very huge blow to us, a very huge loss. Those two men stood so strong, and fought the quote unquote the good fight. They fought until literally until their last breaths, and that's just amazing. Again, if half of us here today could do that, that would be wonderful. Let me, as I do every time we do this, every week I want to explain why I'm doing this. Again, you guys know that I started this as almost as what I thought was an accident. I was feeling a lot of sadness and heaviness, and I wanted to type something about how I felt about the George Floyd murder, and then I couldn't type, and I ended up just going live that very instant, and that birthed what I'm doing today. And we are on episode 12 at this point, which is it's just an honor to be able to try to be a part of a vessel, another vessel where we can try to engage in the conversation with each other, but especially with white folks, where the power structure has been, where the foundation of the power structure of America, the systems of America, were created, instilled, so on, and or instituted. And so we want to make sure that we get this conversation going with those who believe and stand with us, and those, most importantly, who don't believe, who don't look at us as equals, who try to keep us out of the room, out of the conversation. And we're trying to make sure that we're trying to find out why these things are happening. We're trying to understand each other. This is a format for everybody. This is a format, if you are the person that hates everybody in the universe that is another color than you, this is a format for you as well. We want to know why you're saying what you're saying. Why do you think what you think? Why do you act the way you act? Why do you press upon us and oppress us the way that you do? We want to know everybody's views, everybody's experiences, everyone's thoughts. This is a table for that. And of course, we'll have plenty of folks that join us, as already have a few. Today, I have the pleasure of having one of my older brothers, 3 days less than a year older. He's going to be joining us in a little bit to kind of give us a take on, from racism. From his perspective, when he first recognized it, when he realized it, so on. I'm aware of a lot of those things, but maybe some of you aren't, unless you're his friends. But my brother, Jonathan Mookie Morant, he told me to say these funny things that I don't remember, so we'll try to do it when we get him online. He is doing a lot of stuff today, musically, bouncing back and forth and with his kids, so we are, when I get him on the phone, it's not going to be video, although I learned how to do it this week. Hi, Renee, how you doing? And so we're going to have him on, but when we do, it's just going to be audio, because he's going to be doing many things, I guess, getting ready for another show tonight somewhere in Charleston. So, but he is going to come on and talk with us a little bit and give us his take on this whole thing. Before we progress, though, I want to again explain what I kind of created a little motto, for this, and that is that I, and then all those who participate in this conversation, I and we acknowledge and express the racial divide, the racism, oppression, exploitation, systemic racism, and violence against black women, black men, black youth in the United States and all over the world. Also, I and we, all you guys who participate, rather you're participating with me, rather you see this later on, rather you, join conversations of other folks that have seen this, and they engage you. But once you're participating, we're trying to proactively help create a path to a true and united state in America. I always want to explain that because I'm not making a mistake by saying in the United States of America. I literally mean a state. In other words, the state of mind, state of being, in this America that we live in, so that we can all be united. And that is the purpose for this live stream every Wednesday and Sunday at 7 p.m. or close to it. Sometimes, again, I have chronic Lyme disease, so sometimes I feel like complete garbage. Like I think last Wednesday, my head was exploding, and I didn't even get to hang in there that long. But I will do my best every Wednesday and Sunday that I get a chance, and occasionally other times. All of you who are joining, if you want to say hi, like Renee did, appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments, just like the millions that I got again this week, I am sorry for those questions and comments that I did not get to. There's a lot. It's amazing. And again, it's a privilege that so many people are engaging in this. Even the people that engage and say not so nice things. I'm blessed that they're paying attention every day. That they have either saw or heard enough that it made them want to comment. And that's what the point is. This is a conversation. This is not a judgmental conversation. This is an inquisitive conversation. What's up, Paulie? And so, my cousin Paulie, Marky's coming on soon. Thank you, Paulie. So again, I really, like, I know a lot of you guys, when you see the comments that some people put on these things, like, there's one specific individual who I mentioned maybe this week later, but who every time that I post something, he has this same repetitive nasty thing that he says, and then he writes a little laughter thing no matter what I put, even some of the things that are horrible and sad that have happened to black folk in the past, and he'll always put something. Thank you, Renee. You're right. You're right. They will, and so even for those kind of things, the nasty things, I want that. This is, I think if anything, this will, if not cause people to engage with each other, but at least will cause people it will elicit a response of some sort, and that's what we need. When these folks do, like the one guy who constantly does this negative thing, when they do that, that is actually a form of communication that allows us to know where that person and how that person thinks without even having to write so much. You're right. Some people we can't reach. Thank you again. And so I like that. I try to, no matter what people say, as you see, I don't write negative things back to people. I don't engage in that. I don't think that's positive whatsoever. My objective is I want people to keep on responding however they feel, rather it's to me, with me, or to someone else with someone else. I know Paul, I think, has gotten a message or two from a guy that was involved this week. If he didn't, Paul, remind me to pass your information to him. He told me he wanted to reach out to you. I thought he had already, but let me know if not. But also, so it's important to have other people's views. We can't walk through this life just because we're addressing a very, very serious issue of racism, obviously, and it's a very painful thing. It's a very hurtful. It's a very damaging thing that can, and it's very, and it obviously has elicit violence, and many things that are incredibly ugly. And so, but we have to, those of us who are alive and we have the ability to communicate with other people, we have to do our best to do that. And I know that I feel that it's my duty, even though I have physical limitations these days. My mouth, as everybody knows, my mouth has no limitations, and so because of that, I'm blessed to be able to use it to do something positive, and I just pray that we can touch as many folk as possible while I'm here on this earth. And like I said before, many times, it will be till my last breath that I will continue to do this. And anybody who feels that it's repetitive, repetitive is necessary because the negative stuff keeps repeating. So the positive stuff should continue repeating as well. The violence keeps repeating. The negative things and sights and expressions that folks do, those things keep repeating. We have to keep repeating. And just like we should tell each other we love each other every day, families, friends, and so on. Um, well, we got to keep on doing that with everyone. And this to me is an act of love. Me showing kindness and love towards folks of every walk, of every hue, of every wherever you're from. That's what this is. And it's gonna and it's yes, yeah. Yeah. Hold on a minute. I'm trying to get some people in. Yeah, they do get nasty, but guess what? But that's the important thing. When I think a lot of people get hurt by it. I do too. Trust me, I get hurt from some of the stuff that I see people write. But at the same time, that lets me know who that person is. We're not going to know. We have to elicit the response. You got to engage with people. We can't just talk to the people that we know are into this. We can't just talk to the people that we know believe in freedom and equality for all, and that everybody should have the same chance to have a seat at the table. We shouldn't. We can't just talk to us. We have to talk to the folks who believe against that, the folks who are trying to hold us back, the folks who hate us for some unknown reason. We have to have those conversations because until those conversations are had, it's pointless for us to just do it amongst ourselves. Yes, together, if we talk to each other, all of those of like mind, of like hue, of so on, yeah, we're going to have a better understanding of each other and maybe we can boost each other up and so on. That's important too. But we have to get engaged with those folks that have the hatred and the nastiness spewing out. We gotta talk to those people, and even if they don't talk back, we have to elicit the response because we have to know who's doing it. I tell you again that through the week I go through the where I hide myself so people can't see that I'm on Facebook, and I just go through and I just literally sit in the middle of people's conversations and that they're having. And when I see the conversations, I spot it, I watch it, and I watch all the people who I forget what the term for those things are, but in that little stretch of conversation, and I watch all the things that they say, and you wouldn't believe that they were your friends. I'm not surprised anymore, but in the beginning, I think I voiced this in the first couple episodes. That I was terribly taken back by some of the people that I saw saying, so many hateful things that had to do with race, that had to do with people in general. But most of the time, these awful racist leaning things. It was horrible, and I was dumbfounded. I was shocked. All the things you could say, and it made me tear up and all that. But then I realized I get to know. I get to know now who these people are. All the time they were hiding, they love Facebook. If you don't know anything by now, friends and family and everybody else, people love to spew hate on Facebook. And I don't know why nobody stops it, but I'm glad at this point that they don't, because I get to see every nasty word, thought, and so on. Well, not probably not every, but a lot of the content of nastiness that people have. And when you know that, that is a power to know. It's a power to know who all the people are who believe in racism, who believe in white power, who believe in whatever. And again, for the people who are going to ask the question, yes, if whoever's racist in any way, from any nationality to any nationality, any people, yes, it's all negative. But this particular platform is dedicated to this that my life has been affected by, and that is from the prejudice and racist white folks who have done so much to us. So there's plenty of platforms for everything. This is a specific platform for this. Will we touch on everything else? Yes. Will we discuss anything that you want to? Absolutely. But again, the primary um, uh, um, part of this is about the racism from the power structure, which it happens to be um, the more white part of America. I'm sorry to say it, but that's what it is. So actually, I'm not sorry to say it, but so we have to know that these things are happening, and Facebook has been a blessing. I never thought it was going to be, but it is. It's an amazing blessing because we get to find out what other people are thinking when they're having conversations with other people, but it's open on Facebook. They're voluntarily putting the stuff on there, so we get to voluntarily see it. And so, please, you guys, make sure that you're looking at your Facebook streams because I'm telling you, on those streams, these things are happening all day long. I have most of the people that I have on my Facebook. For example, there is a person, her name is Denise Fletcher. Denise Fletcher is a friend of mine on Facebook. And Denise Fletcher printed up some or posted something about an NPR.org thing about Obama urging people to keep protesting and to keep standing up for the rights and so on and so forth. And the comments that started coming from, for example, Scott L. Cantrell, that's Scott L, as in the letter L that comes before M, Cantrell said, well, hell, why not take the protest right to the smug thugs? New $17 million spread, and maybe he will get Michelle to cook you a burger and a hot dog. Now, I don't know if anybody else sees that, but that's pretty much a disrespectful, not nice thing to say. Then after that, there was a Charlie Watkins, that's Charlie Watkins, who then said, if they bring a knife, we bring a gun. Okay, Denise Washburn then followed that up with same as when he was in office, creates division. So she's saying that Obama was creating division, and I'm trying to figure out how do you say Obama created division and you've got Captain Division sitting in the office today? I'm confused. And then Scott Cantrell, let's see, oh, excuse me. And then we got, hold on, then we have Stephen A. Toe, Obama hyphen the Saul Alinsky trained communist radical trying to destroy the republic with a lot of help from his satanic friends. This is a person that is saying that about Obama. And then Paula Hawkins Lively, then says agitator. And then we have another guy, Russ Massengill, who says, "I urge all Americans to demand this terrorist be shot for treason." This guy is saying that Obama should be shot for treason. Then Jay Burns says, "Young Republicans?" Question mark. Which I'm confused if he's saying that as a joke, a jest, or with them. But I responded to all of that. Which, like I said, I watch these things and then I try to respond. And on this particular one, I said to my Facebook friends, I see these interesting conversations. And then I put one of them little emojis with the thinking gesture. And I made a comment to put Denise Fletcher's name in, John Wharton, Denise Washburn, Scott L. Cantrell, Stephen A. Toe, Paula Hawkins, Lively, Russ Massengill, and Jay Burns, who were the people that were taking part in that. I invited them to Food for Action, where everyone can hear and so on and be heard. And so on. I invited into this today. And then after that, then Amy Jean Dyer then stepped in and said, Obama the dumma, and she spelled it Dumbma. And so I caught that, and so I said that I would include them in the live stream today if they would love to join. So please join and share your thoughts, opinions, views, and experiences. And then I said I saw her pipe in, and so I said you're welcome to join the conversation too, Amy Jean Dyer, Food for Action, tomorrow at 7 p.m. And then I got a message later from a Stephen A. Toe who was in that group who said, what kind of organization are you? What do you stand for? Who funds you? So I guess I'm funded now. And why do I exist? And if he joined in, he'd understand why I exist. And then he said, all questions that should be summarily answered now, and he put now in capital letters. So again, I invite these people to take part. Come on, you have a lot of views, lots of things to say. I want you in here, and I want you engaged. I want you to talk to us. Put yourself out there, join the conversation with everybody. This is not, again, this is not just a conversation for the people that I actually know, friends. These are for everybody. If I don't know you, wherever you're from in the universe, this is a conversation for you to jump in. That's why afterwards I put it on YouTube. I put the links on Instagram. I put it on the actual site, Facebook page that I have for this, which is OBIE Morant underscore SBTSBC, and I put everything there. So there's a few avenues for everybody to check it out later, and then my phone number's on Facebook, so everybody has a way that they can talk to me or talk to any one of you, because I'm using primarily Facebook as the host. So that way everybody can go back and forth. So there's no excuse for anybody to say that we're not talking to you, or we're not allowing you to be heard. This is a place you can be heard. And I will continue to extend that to everybody that has these kind of conversations. I will make these things be known. Yes, Renee, I am literally, I think I said this a couple episodes ago, is that I'm using this almost as a job, since I am unfortunately limited to some of the other things that I can do now. I literally do a lot of studying when I get questions and people ask me about different things. No matter what it is, I do my best to research. If I don't know the answers from every angle, I go quote unquote right wing, quote unquote left leaning, quote unquote middle of the road, whatever it is. I try to get as many different resources so that I can help to get everybody involved as much as possible. That is, and give them the answers that they're looking for if they're questions, or to give them food for action, in other words, and food for thought for if at least I can give them an opposing or another view of the comments that they bring up to me. So it's important. It's important that those things are happening. Yeah, and I saw your point about every president is talked about, and I know that happens every year. Matter of fact, Saturday Night Live, they have funny stuff about everybody. I got that, but you can tell when people have a deep-seated ulterior motive to what they're saying, which is some of the things that these people were saying about Obama, when they're talking about killing people and then actually calling them, yeah. So it's a different level, and that's some of the things that we're sensitive to as a black person, as a black man. You become sensitive to a lot of these things because you encounter them all the time. Encounter these things on a daily basis, and I know as growing up and being around Charleston, eventually, you I kind of threw up my hands and was just like, well, you know, nobody to talk to this about, because most of the white friends that I had in Charleston growing up and other places, they thought, oh, that stuff isn't really going on. No, when I'll tell them things that happened, incidents that happened, and they would respond kind of like, oh, wow. But you could tell they don't believe you. And now we're in a state of America where people actually are seeing those things happen and worse. And so now people are understanding that that we really do have a problem with race in America, and everybody tried to discount it. Oh no, that doesn't exist anymore. That was the '60s. No, it has existed all our lives through. Let me name a couple of schools: through Courtney Middle School, Alice Burney Middle School, Stall High School. It is existed since back then, and well before and well beyond me. It will still exist, unfortunately, until we keep this conversation growing and going, and other folks open avenues to it, until the great conversation like this continues everywhere massively, and then people engaged and get actively, like we say, food for action. Then until that happens, then we're going to be having this conversation. What I pray, again, as I've said many times, is that that I hope that and pray that by the time my Smunchkin, my daughter, who you guys heard from a couple weeks ago, when she turns, when she has her grandchildren, I know I won't be here, but from I'll have wings in heaven, and from at that point, I hope that I will be able to look down and be able to sit there and be like, God, you hooked it up, no doubt, and there's nothing but love on this earth. But all this stuff is necessary. Now, I am about to bring my brother into this conversation. We're just gonna get his, I guess we can call it chopping it up for a minute. We're gonna chop it up so that you can get another perspective from one of my brothers who we pretty much walked a lot of the same road. And he'll talk about whatever he wants to talk about as well. So I'm going to try to click him in here. Again, thank you all for joining and participating, everybody who's stopping by. And I'm going to bring my brother in here. And again, like I told you, it has to happen via um, uh, just the voice because he is doing some other junk, preparing for gigs. Whoops!
Oh wait, you there?
Hey, Mark, you there?
Hold on a second. Something's going on with my audio. Let me see.
Well, we hear you, but hold on a second.
Yeah. Well, actually, I can hear you. I had you in my headphones, but it's not working, so I'm trying to hear better.
No worries. No doubt. So hold on. So everybody, so this is my brother, Jonathan Markey Vivaldi, and I don't remember all that stuff you was telling me to say yesterday. Slim pimping something, I don't know.
Yeah, Mookie Mook Daddy, a pimp named Slickback. Thank you, kudos, boondocks.
I have no idea what all of that means, but this is my brother. He's 3 days less than a year older than me, so I have to make sure I always say that because that's important to me so that I can feel like he's not too much older and we're equals, which probably we're not, but who knows. So listen, folks, this is Mook. I'm going to let him introduce himself to you, and those of you who don't know him, and then we're going to chop it up with a few questions. Go ahead, Mook.
Hey, hello. All right, so yeah, that's my little brother Obie. People would often call us twins. That's some whole other madness. I don't know what they're talking about. But lucky for him because I'm so cute. But I'm just a music guy. I play music. I write music. I do music, and I raise children. And I can't cook and I can't swim.
Hey, can y'all hear? Somebody let me know if you can hear him. I'm looking at the screen because I know I'm having a little bit of problem, but let me know if you guys hear him. Somebody, Renee, if you're there, maybe you can tell me. Well, go ahead and keep talking, Mark, and hope maybe there's something.
I ain't gonna know what else to say.
Okay. Well, listen. So obviously, we know that you're a freaking genius of music, and that you've done a million things in the industry and all that. And I want to get to that, but what I would like to do, since this is a conversation that is majoritively about the state of racism in America today, which a lot of white folks primarily would discount until things started to come to the forefront in media, with the recent murders that have unfortunately taken place. And so, because of that, I wanted to ask you first. Oh yeah, okay, but louder is cool. So Paul says he can hear you. Paul said he can hear you, but louder is cool. So maybe you yell.
Be loud.
So listen, Mark. So because of that, I want to find out from you, because I told him about me, and my daughter told Legra told her about her, and Paul told about him. What was your first experience from a kid or teenager or whenever you realized that there was this thing called racism? What was the experience? What opened your eyes that it even existed?
Ooh, okay. Here's the thing. Like, physically recognizing it, I might be a little bit blurry on it as a younger person. I mean, I know, teenage-wise, I go into deep depth, but I do have a recollection of something that mom and dad shared with all of us, I think, but I remember it. And this is when we were little, how apparently, dad was playing at, he did his show at the TikTok Club, South Bay Beach, Massachusetts. What up, what up?
Yep.
And, we were little, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. And this is just before I think we started performing with him. And they recalled that. So dad would be doing the show, and mom would have us out there, and the people there would provide us, allow us to go play all the games. They had it was like a strip that had all these things you could do for families. Just a fun place to be.
Like Myrtle Beach.
Right, exactly. Like a Myrtle Beach, or like a Ventura Beach, or depending on where you live, like Coney Island.
Right.
So basically, and it was great. We'd have a blast. And then they said that, but, they would get the looks because mom's, very vanilla. And she would come walk around with all of us. Now, it's funny because we were rather light-skinned. And so, and frankly, I don't think if it wasn't for probably me and G, might not happen because G had an afro, even though it was
right.
I had the nappy afro, the napfro.
Right.
And so, the people would, give her, stare her down and go through all that. But then something in particular happened to where, something with Joe, because, Joe looked, I guess, the whitest. He had his straight hair and he's very black. And and some woman, they kind of snarled at her and sneered at her, basically and they walked off, and mom could hear them say, "Oh, what's she doing with that little nigger?"
Yeah.
Little nigger boy, a nigger baby or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's not my first recollection, but that's my strongest, memory of something shared. So, that's where I would start.
True that. So, yeah, I told another story of that same ilk. Is that the word? Ilk? But all right, so tell me, so what about high school? Me and Polly started talking about high school days. Tell me about that side.
Okay. All right, well, now we can roll up sleeves. Okay, you want to hear my first, or you want me to...
Just give me one. Just give me one that stands out that maybe, some of the listeners, some of the people might relate to.
Well, one in particular, I might have to go. I'll say two, because one again involves mom and it involves us, and this is kind of this is before I feel like I quote unquote got in the fight.
Yeah.
And I would say I might have been 14, 15.
Hold on 1 second, Mark. 1 second. Again, folks, you're listening to Food for Action. We have my brother, older brother, Jonathan, Marky, Pimp Dog, Slice, Mookie, Double G, all that stuff, Morant. Just kind of giving you some of his take on his recollections, memories, and maybe important moments of his life dealing with racism. Take it away again.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk 2 points, and again, one is involving all of us, and mom just seems to be our custom. So essentially, by now we're down. The early years we're all up north. Northern is New England, whatever. In West Coast, California, but then we finally, now we're rooted in Charleston, South Carolina, cradle of the Confederacy, it is what it is. And then, but we don't care, we're doing our thing, going to school, whatever. And so I guess I was in high school by then. Yeah, definitely. And, I started to know some people, a little bit people that know me, I wasn't a baby no more. I was a teenager, 14, 15. And so, we're all, like we often did, we went to the store with mom. Living in Pepper Hill, went up to whatever the store was up there in the front.
Red and white?
Red and white, right. And we came back. We did shopping with her, came back. And like, not too far from the house, we driving along, mom's driving, we're on the car. We'll probably be rambunctious, I'm sure. And then all of a sudden, this car rolls up, kind of like getting close and on the side, like kind of revving, just being anxious. And this is mom and 4 boys. We're all teenagers. And it's a car full of like kind of rowdy white boys. And so they're doing all that revving. And we're looking like, yo, what, whatever. But none of us are really that kind of person yet.
Right.
Doing don't worry, I'm gonna get to the second part. So no, really that. And then down goes the window, and I see a face, and with the familiar words from the '60s is what I got to go to. They yell. This one in particular yells at my mom in angst and vitriol and hate. Nigger lover.
Yep.
Just like that. Then they and race off.
Yep.
So we're left with that. Now I'm not even going to comment on that because there'll be more to that later. But let me leave that there. So that was my very first brutal memory of the race situation.
Yep.
Okay, and now let me segue into something. So now I'm in high school. I'm 15, about to get on the.
Paul said yet.
Yeah.
All right, now
Okay, so,
can you get up? Can you stay up close to that mic for a minute? I know you're trying to get ready. But...
I'm sorry. Okay, can you hear me better?
Oh, that's way better.
Okay, because I'm talking. All right, so then I'm gonna say another one, but actually this is gonna segue something because this is kind of important because it's personal, and this is how the feelings started to enter in because
Right.
I was a sensitive kid until I wasn't.
Right.
So after that happened, not long after that, I was. So I started, to be aware of the dynamics of, I guess, girls and boys or whatever, because
Right.
we kind of kept under lock and key under the dad tutelage.
Right.
So it took a long time for us to get out there and stretch out.
Right.
So, but then I started being aware, and I people like me, I like people, and it wasn't even a race thing. Like I was oblivious. Like I understood it, but I didn't take it upon myself to think that could come this way.
Right.
Like special or something.
Right.
Bullshit.
Right.
He's my friend. So anyway, I made friends with this particular girl. I'm not even gonna say names because it ain't about that, but you will know who it was. Or I'll remind you later.
Yep.
And we became friends. Like we would be constantly. We would hook up in school on the breaks and at lunch. We'd kick it together, and to me it was just a thing.
Right.
But I developed a fondness for her. So there might have been a little more than friends.
Right.
Now, two things. Luckily, I was so shy till I just, that was all in my mind. As far as she knew, we were just all friends. It was good.
Right.
And this girl, I have to be very descriptive because this is the point. She was a very blonde, very blue-eyed, very pale-skinned, and very pretty captain of the cheerleading squad.
Right.
And at our school, at that time,
Stahl High School.
There were the lines were very clear.
Yep.
There was none of that.
Yep.
And I was aware, but it didn't really affect me, and I didn't really think about it because I wasn't a civil rights leader at that point.
Right.
Like I like to pretend I was, like I was going to be later.
Right. Right.
R.I.P. John Lewis.
Right.
Yep. So what started to happen? I noticed. I got all the looks. There's all this. Is like angst, and then I think I even got little notes and stuff that said, "Hey, man, you can't hang out with her," and this and all this stuff. But it didn't really do nothing.
Right.
But then ultimately, I think I might have said to her. I think I said to her because we were starting to be really good friends, and she lived in our neighborhood.
Yep.
We would get. I mean, it was good. It was like something I'd never experienced.
Right.
So then I said to her, I said, "Well, you think?" I don't know how I said it because I was scared as hell. I said, well, what if you want to, maybe a movie or maybe we could go out on a weekend or something like that? And I'll never forget, like she looked at me almost like she was like deeply distressed to have to say what she was about to say. And she turned literally red. You know how y'all white people do, you turn red. And she literally turned red and she said, I think, let me, maybe, she stuttered.
Right.
He's like, I mean, and I think she wanted to allude to a friendship. She almost couldn't say nothing, and that was cool.
Right.
And then after that, I just thought, like, she got to ask her parents. I don't know how that works, because I never did before. So then, I'm making this long, because I'm trying to get something else.
You're good.
But here, I'm sure. The point is, that never happened, and suddenly, she stopped being around. She would smile at me, but it just was an abrupt flip.
Right.
And I would see her more just being out there with her cheerleading people and this and that. And I was like, okay, whoa. I didn't mean to scare her off. I guess maybe she didn't like me. And I was so stupid,
Right.
so naive to have been involved, and to have been who we were. I can't believe how naive I was. And I guess I just was scared of girls, which is a fact.
Right.
And then I come to know, by just because, chatter, I think another cheerleader, pressed on her and said, "Nah, you can't be hanging out with, some black boy."
Right.
And this, and it got to me. And in other words, it came to me, and I understood, and someone told me, and then, I left it there because I wasn't combatant yet.
Right.
And all that happened, and more happened, but I let that go. And then, fast forward, a lot of other stuff happened. I'm not trying to get to that. I want to finalize this point so you can take over. Fast forward. Oh, those days are gone. We on a mission. We teenagers. Now, then I became who I was. Because I brought you along. You were like my.
Yep.
I sponsored you. You all. And I went on a page. I flipped.
Yep.
Instead of being a beautiful a sweet little guy trying to do something, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make it my mission. We're gonna end this. So this part of this is gonna be over. There ain't gonna be no more black boys can't talk to white girls, all that type of stuff.
Yep.
I'm on this.
Yep.
So I made my mission, and we went everywhere. You know the story.
Yep.
And I hate to put it like this, but this is a keeping it real show, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Kind of just went after all the particular white girls.
Yep.
To kind of buck the system.
Yep.
I liked them, but it wasn't even fairly unfair. It wasn't about them.
Yep.
It was about, we're going to show y'all that this don't wash no more.
Right.
And I specifically went after all the ones that were, quote unquote, well, you can't get them.
Right.
Not that one, not the captain of the cheerleader, not the popular one.
Yeah.
That was my calling.
And listen, I remember you doing that, I think, at every major high school. Goose Creek, Hanahan, I don't know if you... Yep. All of them. And I remember that at least one cheerleader from each school. That was hilarious. And that gave me a lot of hope.
You rode the boot wave,
yep.
rightfully so.
I did. And I talked about this in one of the earlier first episodes, or whatever you call these live streams. I talked about that whole thing because we did go through similar things. I think all of us, even G, but in a smarter way, went through the same. Yeah, went through the same thing. Paul knows. And so we're getting a couple of comments coming.
I'm sorry I can't see it. Hopefully this will be around.
Yeah. It all goes on, and then it goes to the page, which is OBIE Morant, MORANT _SBTSBC, and then it'll be on Instagram and YouTube as well. But Marky, listen. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay, all I want to say is, so I want to wrap all that up so you can take over.
Yep.
So essentially what happened is, here's the memory. The memory is being aware of it, but aware in a way that our parents showed us the love of them. That just kind of, all the stuff we ended up learning that they went through in this struggle.
Yep.
They shielded us in a way. They didn't keep it from us, because I have another memory of them sitting us down, making us watch Roots, every part of it from get-go, and we was little kids. But they needed us to understand what was real. But they shielded us from any bull crap and showed us that we can rise above that, and through music and just through family. But inevitably, life is life and reality is reality. So what happened is, it went from that to coming of age, to being oblivious, to just going for something just because you're a kid. You're coming of age. You might like a girl. She happens to be one. And that affected me so deeply, ultimately, that I flipped. It's like I snapped inside and I said, okay, enough is enough. Now I'm not even concerned. I'm going to show y'all something. And now it's going to be, this ain't even about me. It ain't about y'all. It ain't about none of this. It's about, it's enough. And whatever part we going to play, I'm digging in. And then we fought. And we would fight. When all this happened, obviously the dudes didn't like it, because they were mad that we were crossing that line. And they thought they could come for us, and we sent them all back.
Correct.
how we do.
Correct.
And I'm proud of that, because it's not about a violent thing. It's about enough is enough.
Right.
And whereas they were entitled, we took that entitlement and beat it into the Burger King parking lot ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
Simply put.
Yep.
And what happened from that, things started to change.
Yep, that's true. That's true. It's funny that because I, the times that I've come back, you're still in Charleston, in the Charleston area, but the times that I've come back, I even starting, when I was on the road for a while, just regular bands and all that. But every time I'd come back, I'd see the progression to some extent because of a lot of the stuff that we went through. And I truly believe that it was literally because of that, because it was so known. It was like what do you call those little fable stories and stuff that people would tell. So
I mean, fool, we were labeled like it was so popular, and we made such a because we were always marketers. We marketed it to our personal benefit till the outreach was crazy, and people who were down with it, they wanted to get in. So a lot of people came in, and people who weren't, they wanted to test us. So they became that type of dynamic. And while all that's bubbling up, because we're like manning all the area high schools, every single one of them, and that's what it was all about. Well, then, as fights go, then, the authorities get involved. And let's just say the authorities were those authorities.
Yes, they
Let's just keep it real. They would have, they were filled with a lot of racists, just like we still see now. And so they came for us too. But two things. We thankfully had the dignified platform of our daddy, Mr. Joey Morant, who built a wall around us, thankfully, because otherwise we were going down. Because everyone loved Pop. All the mayors, all the constables, all the judges, all the police, the chiefs of police, they all loved and adored Pop. So when we get into something, they'd be like, "Oh, okay, it's the Morant boys, so let's find out what this is," and they let it pass, because they understood that this is just boys coming of age. But also, I'm sure, thinking back, they understood there's that racial dynamic, and they weren't going to have it either.
True.
So we kind of got blessed.
We did.
Because the truth is, we bucked a lot of stuff, man, and we could have been in a lot of trouble.
That is the truth. Renee Pfeiffer, Michael Pfeiffer's wife, she's been tuning in, and she's told you thanks for sharing. And I say thank you, and we're going to have you back again, like in a few, as we begin to grow. I know you got to get to work and whatnot, but I love you, man, and I appreciate all you doing. Keep it rolling in South Carolina. And folks, Paul said the Honorable Joey Morant. So
cousin,
that is Pops. So but I love you, man. Don't kill yourself over there racing around, and we'll have you on again. That's my brother Jonathan Mookie, all the other things he calls himself, Morant. Thank you, brother. Love you, man.
Love you.
All right. So folks, you were listening to my brother and me chop it up, and that's awesome. And we're going to have him back again sometime, and we're going to have more folks. Wait till you see some of the folks that's in tune. I actually have had a couple of people join my Instagram who are, one is a famous actress who actually joined my Instagram page this week. And so we're going to have her on someday soon. And so, a lot more to do in order to make that happen. But because of that sensitive nature of her profession. But so we have a lot of things that are going to come in. My mom is going to come on, and so on. We just want to keep on talking about this. I have even a couple of people who are maybe not so ecstatic about black folk who are going to come on, who have agreed to come on. So we're going to have the other another side of this whole argument or conversation come on the show soon as well. Thank you, Renee, and obviously Polly, and we love you guys. So I just want to make sure that before I go, that we remember that this is a conversation. It's not just a one-way conversation. Anybody who wants to join in, anybody who wants to join in live, who has something under this subject that they'd like to speak about, I encourage you, reach out to me. Let me know. We can talk. We can chop it up a little bit privately, and then I can get you on here. And no holds barred. I'm not here to limit anybody from speaking. I want more people at the table. That is the important thing. We're not going to come to grips with this racism in America thing until we're all conversating somehow. It doesn't. It's not all going to be positive. People are going to agree to disagree and so on. But it is a conversation that is necessary because it is not over. If you are white in America and you are of the opinion that racism doesn't exist anymore and it is not prominent in society and there is no systemic racism, then you are sadly mistaken. There is no possible way in the world that that uh, that that a nation that was built under such corrupt uh, emphasis, I think is the word, that has such a foundation of racist ways, slavery, brutality, etc. If the world was founded on that, and and then there's still such an imbalance of in society at the table, in government, schools, jobs, and so on, and every aspect of this country. When you see that, then it's obvious. It's only obvious that there is something that keeps it that way. The laws and the uh, principles and the values and all these things that we know that's what the what do they call that, the I'm sorry, but well, anyways, what we know is that everything is founded upon that. And so in order to to make all of this change, we have to acknowledge that it exists. And I have to say, my white friends, my white people in America, you have to acknowledge it too. It can't just be us being mad and being fed up and wanting it to change. You have to acknowledge it and know that you should be fed up and that it needs to change as well. And and until that happens, it's always going to be some kind of clash, and there's always going to be hurt, and there's always going to be pain, and usually it happens to us. It's not usually directed towards you. And I'm not saying that it doesn't at all. I'm saying that the majority of it ends up happening to us. The majority of the pain ends up being felt by us and our families and our communities. And so and we should be able to say that all of the communities are ours, that we all share in all these things equally, and that we're fixing it together, and it will all be better. But the problem is that we can't fix a problem that a racist problem that white people have against black people. Only white people can fix that problem. We can help with the conversation, but we can't fix it. We have to have all of those people that feel that way. They have to acknowledge it, especially those folks that are in any seat of power or high up position at the table. They have to acknowledge it, and know that it exists, and then step forward, stand up for change, and then you know, and action will then ensue. We hope and we pray. So, anyways, today we were joined by my brother Jonathan Mookie Morant. Awesome to talk to him on here and hear some of his stories and recollection of his experiences dealing with racism. And this is real business. This is real talk. So I hope that everybody appreciates this. Those of you who pop in and pop out, and also all of you who will be tuning in and seeing it later. As soon as we're done, it takes me a few moments, and I get it up on YouTube and all those other platforms to make sure that everybody can check it out. This is a weekly thing. It's called Food for Action, not food for thought, although we want you to think too, but mainly food for action. and we come to you every Wednesday and every Sunday at 7 p.m. Um, Brought to you by SBTSBC, and we're going to see you again Wednesday. We're going to talk about a few people that have said some of those disturbing things to me in within some of these conversations, or what I keep on forgetting the name, strips or whatever they're called on Facebook. Those conversations under the posts. Yeah, we're gonna talk about some of those folks, because I always believe that you have to be aware of the people that are speaking that kind of hatred and that kind of negativity, hurtful things, and I am pretty sure that a lot of the people that are spewing this stuff, they are friends of some of yours as well. I know that it's not only me, because most of the folks who are speaking this way, the hateful, negative, evil way, those people we seem to have 200 and 300 and 400 and sometimes more friends in common. And so I don't know that, and I wouldn't believe that all of those people feel that way. At least I pray that they don't. And threads, thank you, Renee. So in those threads, yeah, so there are people that we have mutual friends. They're mutual friends of ours, and so I want you guys to know who they are, just in case you haven't seen it yet. Just as I did a little bit earlier with those people that took part in that conversation. Again, before I go, please remember. Please keep the families of C.T. Vivian, Reverend C.T. Vivian, and Representative John Lewis, who passed away, went to heaven this weekend. They were incredible warriors for equality for black people in this country and abroad. They have done, you're so funny, Renee, but they did incredible things since the 40s, since their youth, until the days of their last breath, which I can only hope and pray that I can at least do something that could even, be some way um, um, positive or productive. You know, I know it can't compare to that, but at least I can hopefully do something that can touch people's minds, hearts, spirits, bodies, souls, and so on. And that's what I hope that we'll all end up doing together. So, again, keep the family of those two powerful American heroes, Black American heroes, in your prayers. And I thank them, and I thank all the Black American folks and Black people around the world who are trying to do positive things for us. And I thank all of the white folks and Latin folks and Hispanic folk and Asian folks and Asian American folks and every nationality of folk that walk this earth, every person under God. I pray that everybody, I thank everybody that is doing something to fight this fight. Please continue. Racism does exist. Systemic racism does exist. It is something that is holding a whole people down, and we need to fight it, and fight it. And this is a great way to be part of that process, is to through the conversation. And but don't stop there. It has to keep moving. Yes, even those folks. You're funny. And so, I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in again. Make sure that you tune in Wednesday night, 7 p.m. God bless you all. I love you. And we'll see you the same black time, same black channel. Good night.